yeah, he has similar problems that he's experienced, and his is more detailed, so I can go into that later. But essentially, what Maximilian has has found is that one, I think it's terms of skill, like as a programmer, there are certain skill sets that you have. I'm okay with the skill set being like certain syntax you might forget, but um, I think they all experience a problem. Maybe afterwards I can explain it, but I'll just say it right now. Um, if you program with LLMs, what you do is you go through kind of like a your experience is like this. You'll have some. So you can see my hands. So you have some like great experiences that you create something with LLMs, like you're prompting and whatnot, and you get some cool outputs. But then what happens? There's a dip, and then you come back up, and then a dip, come back up. Like the whole experience um, is usually a big curve of experiences that go up and then down, up and down. And what the ups are is when it works, right? When you have an output that is like maybe one or two prompts, or you fix something or whatnot, and it comes up, and you like you have this experience where you're super happy because it works. That's, I would say, a very similar experience to how programmers feel when when you create a product that where you're working and you solve problems. Like you have this this dopamine hit that you've heard of, that you feel really good about. But what's the dip, right? The dip is when shit hits the fan. Like you start implementing features, and then it breaks. And it's not the thing that you're working on that breaks. Something else breaks. Um, and this is an issue that I won't get into too much detail, but it's context. It's what I term clarity and ambiguity problem. But everyone will experience it. Novices that are vibe coding will experience it, um, and people like even experienced coders like me that try to use the products to build systems also experience it. And I think um, from my point of view, and together also with CJ's, is that um, yeah, there's a lot of frameworks or methodologies you can use. Like I'm sure everyone's heard of the BMAD method. There is PRP. There is now I think GitHub. I think, what is it called? Some sort of kit. Like anyways, these are all like methods to help you guide the LLM, kind of like building more structured, documented methodologies um, into the build of a product using an LLM. Like it's essentially it's just more clear documentation, and I use it too. I don't I use partially like some of the methods that are identified. I don't use them all in detail the way they use it, but I understand what it is, so I kind of created my own methodologies. But see, I'm getting off tangent, but essentially, like I think both Maximilian and also CJ has used different methods to try to I would say normalize the build. Normalize as in make it more clear. And I think what I've also done is try to make things more clear. Like I'll start breaking down things um, so that there's more clarity right in the beginning, right? And I think um, it doesn't matter how clear you try to get. There is always that the issue, the dip that I'm talking about exists all the time. It doesn't matter how you do it; it exists, and there are situations where code that you want the LM to just change something very specific, and it will change something else, right? And a lot of this won't get into too much detail here, but it's because of this what I call the ambiguity problem, um, that that no matter what every every problem you get into, there will be some ambiguity somewhere in the description, in how you explain it, and how you try to detail out the information. There will be all small minor ambiguous areas, whereas programmers, we would know the answer for because we're trained already. But the LLM is also trained, but with a whole lot of different ways to handle one single problem. Um, and I think that's a, a problem that in my opinion is very hard to get by or get past, because um, there's no standard way that it could really get itself to guide itself like 100%. It's this path, like this single path of how it should solve problems. It should take this one, rather than going to like all these tangential paths.